All right, picture this. You walk into work on a random Monday, minding your own business, coffee in hand, just hoping the Wi-Fi's not down again, right? Now imagine there's this one person. Maeve. Yeah, you know the type. Been around forever, always acting like she owns the place, self-declared queen bee of the office, except nobody actually remembers who gave her a crown. She's not your boss, she's not in your department. Hell, she's not even on your email chain half the time. But somehow, she's always there, popping up where she's not needed, like the world's most annoying pop-up ad that just refuses to go away. Now, Lena. She's the quiet one, the kind of person who smiles politely, says thank you to the coffee machine, keeps her headphones in, just hoping to blend in, right? The problem is, people like Maeve, they can smell nice from a mile away, and they love to make it their personal project. At first, it was nothing, comments about Lena's lunch choices, a sideways glance if Lena dared to microwave fish. God forbid someone enjoys a little salmon at work, you know what I mean? If Lena clocked in 5 minutes late, Maeve would whisper something about professionalism loud enough for everyone to hear, like she was auditioning for a role in Office Hall Monitor, the musical. But it's the way these things snowball that gets you. One Monday, Lena shows up to her desk, and there it is, a printed note, perfectly aligned, stuck to her monitor like some kind of office scarlet letter. All employees in Pod C must clear personal items from their desks by end of day Friday for visual uniformity. Signed, you guessed it, Maeve. Nobody asked for visual uniformity, least of all from the self-appointed lunchroom sheriff. Next day, Maeve's sending a building-wide email, complaining about people bringing in outside coffee, reminding everyone there's an in-house Keurig for employee morale. Because nothing says high morale like being policed for your caffeine choices, right? Still, Lena tried to laugh it off. But then came the moment that turned weird into straight-up alarming. Lena comes back from lunch, ready to slip into her chair, and there's Maeve, sitting right there, rifling through her desk. Lena just freezes. "What are you doing?" she asks quietly. Maeve doesn't even look up. "Compliance check," she says, like she's scanning for contraband. Compliance with what? Lena manages. Maeve stands up, smooths her skirt, snaps the drawer shut. The clean desk policy. Personal medication must be stored off-site. That's the moment Lena realizes her EpiPen, the one thing keeping her from a full-blown allergy disaster, is suddenly a problem. That night, Lena tells her husband about it. He happens to be a labor rights attorney, which is either the universe having a sense of humor or Lena's luck finally turning. He doesn't tell her to run to HR. He says, start documenting everything. For the next 3 weeks, Lena turns into a silent investigator, collecting every one of Maeve's emails, all those sticky notes, even screenshots. From Slack, where Maeve's demanding people send her their time-off schedules for team tracking. She records a conversation, states one-party consent, thankfully, of Maeve insisting someone get approval before using the restroom. It's like the world's most boring spy movie, but with way more passive aggression. And then, the kicker. During a regular team huddle, Maeve stands up, all proud of herself, and announces she's created a behavioral performance log on the shared drive, listing suboptimal habits by name. Lena's in there 3 times, one for having too many plants on her desk, another for taking inconsistent lunch durations, and another for her supposedly unkempt cable management. Seriously, you can't make this stuff up. Lena doesn't shout, doesn't make a scene. She just gathers all her evidence and quietly sends it all, the emails, the recordings, the digital breadcrumbs, to 2 people, the HR director and the corporate compliance officer. That's it. She doesn't say a word. Within 48 hours, the whole office is buzzing. Maeve walks in on Wednesday, purse swinging like always, logs into her computer, and bam, her screen's locked. Password reset. Email access revoked. She barely has time to blink before HR and compliance show up at her desk and ask her to come with us. By lunchtime, people are whispering in the break room. By 3 p.m., it's official. Maeve's been put on administrative leave, pending investigation. The entire behavioral log vanishes from the shared drive. All the passive-aggressive post-it notes disappear. And for the first time in months, the air in Pod C feels lighter. You can practically taste the freedom. Management sends out a company-wide memo that afternoon, reminding everyone, Only authorized supervisors may request or track employee performance or behavior. Unauthorized access to personal workspaces, medical items, or schedules is strictly prohibited. You could almost hear the collective sigh of relief echoing through every cubicle. A week later, Maeve's back, but not at her old desk. She's been reassigned to another floor, stripped of all her committee badges, forced to take a series of respectful workplace training sessions. No one's calling her queen anymore. She doesn't speak to Lena. Not a word. Here's the thing. Lena never raised her voice. Never stooped to Maeve's level. Never tried to win some petty point-by-point argument. She just built her case, trusted the process, and waited for the house of cards to collapse. Sometimes, that's all it takes. A little patience, a folder full of receipts, and the courage to say, enough. Even if you only say it to yourself. Now, every office has its own Maeve, someone who takes a little too much pleasure in bossing others around, hiding behind fake rules and phony authority. But what do you think? Where's the line between looking out for your team and straight-up bullying? Should people confront bad behavior head-on, or does quiet resistance speak louder in the end? Drop your take in the comments. Let's hear your wildest office stories, your thoughts on justice, and what you'd do if it was you facing down a Maeve. Because sometimes, the best revenge really is just letting the truth do its work. Funny thing, after Maeve got shuffled off to her new floor, you'd think things would instantly snap back to normal. But if you've ever worked in an office after a storm blows through, you know it's never that simple. For a week or two, people acted like they were walking on eggshells, glancing over their shoulders, half expecting Maeve to reappear behind them with a clipboard, ready to catch someone refilling a mug from the wrong coffee pot. Even the plants on Lena's desk seemed to perk up, finally free from surveillance. But what nobody expected was how quickly the office started to change, almost like everyone was letting out a breath. They didn't realize they'd been holding. People actually started talking in the break room again. No more silent lunches or nervous giggles whenever someone microwaved last night's leftovers. For the first time in months, it felt like folks were remembering how to be human with each other, not just cogs in Maeve's imaginary machine. Lena, though, she kept to herself as always. Habits, eh? Tough thing to break, especially after months of trying to be invisible. She was still the first to offer her seat at meetings, still the one who refilled the paper tray without anyone noticing. But little things started to shift. There was this new hire, Jason, fresh out of college, who'd been getting the classic rookie treatment, the silent freeze-outs, the eye rolls when he fumbled with the printer. Maeve might have been gone, but her ghost was still lurking in old routines. One afternoon, Lena saw Jason sitting alone at lunch, staring into his sad little Tupperware. And something in her just snapped. Maybe it was remembering how it felt to be the target, or maybe she was just tired of silence. She picked up her tray, sat across from him, and asked, "So what did you do? Forget your lunch in the car, or just not a fan of leftovers?" He laughed, kind of surprised, and suddenly, the invisible wall broke. By the end of the week, a couple more people had joined them, sharing stories about their own first days, the disasters, and the triumphs. It wasn't some grand revolution, just a quiet ripple, but you could feel it. Things were loosening up. The fear was fading. Then, out of nowhere, the real twist landed. Friday morning, an email popped into Lena's inbox from Maeve. Just her name, no subject line, and Lena's stomach did that weird flip-flop thing. She almost deleted it without reading, but curiosity got the better of her. Inside was just one line. "For what it's worth, I'm sorry. I thought I was protecting the team. I guess I lost sight." That was it. No grand confession, no dramatic plea for forgiveness. Just a single, tired sentence. Lena stared at the screen for a long time. She could have forwarded it to HR. Could have shared it with her husband and gotten a laugh, but she didn't. She just archived it and went back to work. Because sometimes, people really do think they're doing the right thing, even when they're completely blind to the damage they cause. And sometimes, the real power isn't in winning or exposing someone. It's in letting go and refusing to carry the bitterness any further. By the end of the quarter, the office was a different place. The rules were clearer, posted in plain language, enforced by people who actually had authority, not self-appointed monitors. People started volunteering for projects again, showing up to birthday cakes in the break room, daring to put up photos and little trinkets at their desks without worrying someone would confiscate them for uniformity. The ghost of Maeve faded, and Lena's quiet act of resistance turned into a quiet kind of leadership, the kind that doesn't shout, doesn't point fingers, but sets people free just by showing what's possible. Still, not everyone saw it that way. Some folks whispered that Maeve was just misunderstood, that Lena had gone too far by turning her in, that she should have settled things face to face. Others said it was about time someone stood up, and that maybe Lena had done the entire company a favor. Even months later, you'd hear arguments in the break room. Where do you draw the line? When is it right to push back? And when is it just stirring the pot? Is quiet justice really justice? Or is it just another way to avoid a fight? I don't pretend to have all the answers. But I do know this. Sometimes, the best changes come from the smallest acts. Sometimes, the person you least expect to change everything is the one who never wanted the spotlight in the first place. So tell me, what would you have done in Lena's shoes? Would you have kept your head down, or pushed back louder and sooner? Where's that line between defending yourself and becoming the very thing you can't stand? Share your stories, your take on justice, your wildest office drama, because this debate is far from over, and honestly, I want to hear how you'd play it out.